So quickly, first static test of all the cells for their voltage. So number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, oops, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, now I got a little motor hooked up here. Run this in series, some alligator clips, and I'm just going to run them for I'm going to go for about 10 seconds here and just see how quickly it drops with each one. So it took about 20 seconds to get down to 10 volts. Let's try number 2. So that one got to 10.6 in the same amount of time. I suspected it was cell 1. That's kind of showing it drops an extra half volt. All right, number 3. So from what I'm seeing, cell 1 just has a larger voltage drop over the same amount of time. So I've confirmed that cell number 1 is the problem cell. For some reason, static voltage, they're all identical, like plus or minus 0.01 volts, which is really good. Under load, this one starts at 10.52 immediately. It's the first reading you get when you actually put it under load. All the other ones seem to be like in the low 10.8s when they actually start under load. And then they drop to about 10.6, plus or minus like 2/200ths of a volt. So you get a drop of 0.2, 0.25 volts on all the other ones after 20 seconds of running under load with this 12-volt air compressor motor. If I run cell 1 for the same amount of time, roughly, it drops from 10.52, 10.53, from what I saw in the video I took, down to 10.0. So we get a half volt. It starts a third of a volt lower, and it drops half a volt instead of 0.25. So when you put it under load, especially, I mean, that motor is a very light load. I didn't have anything hooked up to the other end, so it was not like it was actually filling a tire or anything. It was just an open spinning motor, like a pump with no actual seal on the end. So it was consistent for all of them. The problem I see is that once you put it under load, actually under driving, which is a much higher load, the voltage drop is more significant, and that's why this is causing the same. It's the exact same issue I saw with cell 12. Static load all shows the same voltage. Static voltage is all the same. Once you put it under load, it shows something quite different than all the other cells. So for some reason, this brand new pack, cell 1 and cell 12, have been bad. when doing the testing the first time, I noticed cell 12, and I assumed that, you know, when a cell fails in a brand new pack, it's probably just one. It turns out I had two, and I didn't know until I put it all back together, and the code came back 2 days later. So we're gonna pop this one out, and then what they did, because I didn't have confirmation of which cell it was before I got the replacement, I have a replacement here. It's from a Toyota Kluger Hybrid, which I guess is the same cell, but with no vent tube on the end. So these have the vent tubes. I'm assuming because this battery maybe isn't in the interior compartment, the passenger compartment, but those vent tubes are for safety. So what the manufacturer told me I can do, they said once you identify which cell it is, note which end has the vent on it, so this one being the negative, and then I'm just going to pop this off this cell, and I'll put it on the negative end of the replacement one. So I have because the plastic track up here is all the same regardless. So I'm just going to swap this onto the new one when I take it all apart. I mentioned this in my last video where I showed how to take this whole battery out. I changed these I drilled out the rivets that came with it, and I'm glad I did because I've had to take it apart like 3 times. Thank you, new hybrid battery manufacturer. That's what you want to do. I still kind of rely on them for support, so I'm nervous about naming them, but I mean, it's been disappointing through and through at this point. The amount of hours I've spent fixing the new one, if I was billing that at my hourly rate at work, I would have charged them more than twice what this battery cost me. So I'm just going to pop all these out. It's quite tough. The batteries are really compressed quite a bit, so to put it back together, you like need a clamp. So I'm going to pop this all apart, and then I'll get back to you when I got this one pulled out. So I just popped the last screw out there, and this is, you can see where it rests. This is how, I don't know if maybe they made the batteries like just like a little bit wider than the OEM ones, and maybe that's why they're compressed so much. I'm curious if maybe that's why the outside ones have been a little bit the prone to go wrong. I wonder if it just has to be squeezed too much to fit back together. Like maybe these are too wide. And then I obviously clamp it all together. That's where it's resting. I can't even squeeze. So what I did, I don't know if it mattered much, but I numbered them all. Kind of silly at this point, but so what I'm going to do, I guess I'll pop all these off completely. And then the bottom is all spring steel with all the temperature sensors on it. Since I'm just replacing one, I'm going to leave that all on there, and then just you can kind of bend the outside plates open a bit of the spring steel, and then you can slide your cells out. But yeah, we'll pop this off. All right, so this is the failed one. I just took pictures of all sides to send to the manufacturer. There's no abnormal dents or dings or scratches, so it is just a defect in their manufacturing somewhere that causes it to like just drop in voltage so much quicker than the others and not hold it. But they told me I can just carefully trim. Honestly, I think it's just tape. Just trim this tape here and pop this cap off and swap it onto the Kluger one. Oh wow, that does just pop off. Look at that. It's already loose. I got a screwdriver here. Yeah, somewhere I got this. Very fine tip screwdriver. I'll just try to get gently. I do have another one of these, but it says positive on it, so this is the one I want because I don't want the cells. If anyone ever does work on this again. The other failed one was reverse polarity. The positive end was the one with the vent tube attachment on it. And I'm sure it'll work, but it'd be nice if it was correct and showed. There, look at that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's the piece right there. So here's the new one. I marked the top on the negative end because that's how the old one was. I've got the cap piece to pop back on here, and then I've marked here E02 in the same spot that the manufacturer initially put all the stickers showing the cells and what order they go in. I don't know how balanced this is going to be. I asked them, they said it's very important that they're all balanced. And I was like, cool, a cell failed, send me a whole set, because you know how to balance them, and I am just someone who's trying to do the best I can with a car in a place where no mechanic wants to touch it because it's an import. And I mean, one of the initial reasons I chose them was because they said, oh yeah, we got a full set of instructions, which after I paid turned out to be for a completely different type of battery in a Prius, which is obviously easy enough to find online. Like, I wasn't worried about how to put on a Prius battery. I wanted to know how to put on how to like take apart an Estima battery. So when I was taking it apart and diagnosing the issue without any instructions, I figured out the second time I'd done it, I might as well make a video how to take everything apart in that car. So, you know, I'm just going to say it. Enocar batteries, they're out of China. And I know, don't trust stuff from there. Get what you pay for. I asked part suppliers to source me a Toyota one from Japan. And the only way they sell it, it seems, at least the only information I could get in the couple weeks I spent before I decided on finally getting this one because it was available, was to get it with all the sheet metal shrouding, all the bracketry, all new sensors, and it was like, it costs as much as the entire van. But then do I replace the van for another like 9-10 grand? And then if it's another hybrid, do I have the same issue in a few months? This was $3,000 Canadian shipped. It was just it was no OEM available. So I could not find an OEM source for this. So I've got that back on. I don't know if I need to retape it. I think I will, just a little bit. I don't know how much the tape hurts thermal protection. So I'm just going to try and see if I can just put a little bit of tape here, at least on the sides. It looks like it fits really tightly, which is nice. So I'll just put a little bit of tape on each end so it doesn't pop off, assembling and whatnot. So now that looks back like the OEM one. Vent tube on the correct side, and we'll put it back together. I wonder if I can leave the camera there. Now, you might remember me saying this is a really, really tight fit. So I'm going to try and get it in there, obviously without scratching or hurting the battery in any way. But it is a very, very tight fit. Ooh. There we go. So, just pop that down. There we go. That's it, all in there in order. So here's your, all the pattern is good. And then back on this side, same thing. Pattern's good. Vent tube's all on the right side. I'm just gonna put these bands back on and clamp this together with, I got a Bessie clamp, just to hold it tight enough for the straps to go in. So, get these, using the same self-tappers again. That one's just spinning. It's actually, once I release the clamp and they're under load, like their tension, they don't come loose. That one held tight, but yeah, this clamp, just turning by hand, like it's not like a crazy amount of clamping force needed. It does appear like the latest one, the newest one, is a little bit thicker. Like it's like, I will lose my mind if this one fails or another one fails again. Like, I got like 35, 40 hours at this point into repairing this battery. It should have been just the first time. So I'm gonna lose my mind. And I'll just probably have to spend another $3,000 at a different supplier if this fails again. But yeah, once the spring force is so tight, like that one was loose, and now look at it. So just the clamp was making sure it didn't have any side load on it. There we go. Yeah, check all these and reassemble. You can check my other video. Yeah, I'm gonna reassemble it and put it back in the van, and hopefully we have a family van again. But yeah, that's it. So I got the battery back together with the cell one replaced. Been driving it for like 15 minutes now, watching the cell's voltage readings and internal resistance feedback, all that through the Dr. Prius app. It's good. Under load, it's good. I don't seem to throw a code anymore. It seems like there's still a slight voltage differentiation because I think the replacement cell wasn't balanced with the other pack quite as well. But under load, it doesn't drop like the others did before. So it doesn't. The Toyota's computer doesn't seem to see an issue with it. It looks like it's much better than before. Leaving a green light here under hard load. I used to throw a code within 50 feet of leaving before, so hopefully that's the last cell I have to replace. It's running good now. I got an all-wheel drive hybrid minivan. Again, instead of a front-wheel drive, really slow 4-cylinder minivan. It's much better when the electric motors are working. So, and the gas motor seems to come on a bit smoother, which is nice. So I think it's all solved.